plus years, and his profile, I'll be sharing very brief nuggets of his profile. Dr. Srinivasa KG is a professor of data science and AI at Data Science DSPM IIIT Naya Raipur, India. Before that, he was at NITER Chandigarh, CBP Government Engineering College, Delhi, MS Ramaiah Institute of Technology, Bangalore. He earned his PhD from Bangalore University in 2007 and has received many prestigious awards, including AICT Career Award, IEI Young Engineer Award, and IST National Award for Young Teachers. He is senior member of IEEE and ACM and has led several funded projects from AICT, UGC, and DRDO, and completed consultancy projects worth 60 lakhs or more. He is also a Boy Scout Fellowship recipient for postdoc research at University of Melbourne, Australia. So we are glad to have him on this as keynote speaker on faculty in this faculty development program. So Dr. Srinivasa KG, sir, a huge and warm welcome to you once again.
And I'm again, once again, thank you for giving me an opportunity to come back to you again. And the second topic is more critical and interesting. See, now what has happened is it is a security issue, cyber security. Now, every one of us had given the control to cyberspace. Automatic car lock. You can lock the car through the mobile. Means the control of the car is not alone with you. The control of the car is in the cyberspace. Home automation. The control of the home itself is in cyberspace. Similarly, the remote control nuclear reactors, then missiles, and so on and so on. So when you talk about IoT, the danger point of IoT is you are giving away your complete control to the cyberspace. When the control is in cyberspace, there is always the middle of the man attack. Means somebody who is not authorized can always peek into some of the resources which he doesn't own, and he can actually play with that intentionally or unintentionally. Okay, so therefore people have to be very careful. So especially with the advent of IoT, the security is its highest risk. People are in highest risk. So today you are talking about the cyber security, digital arrest, and how people are losing money in the cyberspace, especially in crypto and many other things. Especially this digital arrest has become a very nuisance nowadays. Okay, so the nuisance in the sense it doesn't allow people to talk. There's not of nonsense. Okay, so therefore, what I want you, I will give you a brief introduction again on the security in cyberspace, so that you will just like to understand what is going on. Okay, so let me share the PPT. So before, yeah. Is my PPT visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So before we talk, it is both AI, ML, and IoT. We should understand what is this AI that we talk about, and because of this, what is the nuisance. So the AI is nothing but the automation of activities that we associate with human thinking and activities such as decision making, problem solving, learning, and so on. So, artificial intelligence is basically the science and engineering of making the intelligent machines, especially the intelligent computer programs. Okay. The exciting new effort to make computers think is the machines with minds in the full and the literal sense. Okay. And the study of computations that make it possible to perceive, reason, act. These are all actually it is study of mental. This is what the AI talks about. So now, when we talk about the hype cycle of AI learning, machine learning, it was not today. Almost 2 to 5 years back, the deep learning, machine learning, commercial, um, unmanned aerial vehicles are expected to be mainstream adoption in 2 to 5 years. It was told almost 10 years back. 5G, smart robots, edge computing are in the line of 10 years. So it was as on July 2017, it was predicted that deep learning comes to the hype. So it has already come. In 2017, it was predicted machine learning will be in hype. It has already come. So in 2017, it was told that it will within 10 years, autonomous vehicles will come. It has come. And blockchain, within 5 years, blockchain will come. It has come. So, like that, what has been predicted almost in 2017 has come true. Please go through this. Whatever they have told at that time in 2017, now it has come to reality. Like it can be deep reinforcement learning, 5G, then brain computer interfaces, smart workplace, smart robots, IoT platforms, connected homes, deep learning, machine learning, autonomous vehicles, nanotube electronic, cognitive, blockchain, commercial UAVs, and many virtual reality, augmented reality, and many things. Okay, so it was predicted now. So the artificial intelligence system learns from experience, uses the learning to reason, recognizes the images, solves complex problems, understands language and its nuisance, creates perspectives. Okay. So, the enabling technologies for AI robots include perception, that is, object recognition and person tracking, control, manipulations, and action control, navigation, that includes obstacle avoidance and map building, localization, interaction, that includes vision and voice, multimodal interactions, computing power, which includes cloud computing, GPUs, parallel computing, neural processors, and so on. So you know the learning everywhere, like internet and cloud, people use it for image classification, speech recognition, language translation, language processing, sentiment analysis, recommendation, medicine and biology. So many places the AI and machine learning. It is used very heavily in security and defense, which involves face detection, video surveillance, satellite imaginaries, and many other things. So the recent trends in AI include natural language processing, producing text from computer data, and also currently used in customer services, report generation, summarizing business intelligent insights, and so on. It's also used in speech recognitions, where you are going to transcribe and transform human speech into a format useful for computer applications, currently used in interactive voice response systems and mobile applications. Then also it is used in virtual agents, which are simple chatbots, to advanced systems that can network with humans, and currently used in customer service and support as smart as home managers. So there are AI optimized hardware has come. I think majority of you know what is this AI optimized hardware. So the GPUs and appliances specifically designed and architected to efficiently run AI oriented computational jobs. and currently primarily making a difference in deep learning applications, and sample vendors like Alluviate, Cray, Google, IBM, Intel, Nvidia, and so on. Similarly, the deep learning platforms, a special type of machine learning, consists of artificial neural networks with multiple abstraction layers, currently primarily used in pattern recognition and classification applications, supported by very large data sets. Sample vendors, Deep Instinct, ersatz lab, fluid AI, mathwork, peltarian, saffron technologies, sentiment technologies, and so on. So it is also used in robotic process automation, where using the scripts and other methods to automate human action to support efficient business processes. Currently used where it is too expensive or inefficient for humans to execute a task or a process. And commercial flights use an AI autopilot. The reports suggest that the average flight of a Boeing plane involves only 7 minutes of human street flight, which is typically reserved only for takeoff and landing. And NASA is exploring a related possibility, moving co-pilot out of cockpit on commercial flights, and instead of using a single remote operator to serve as a co-pilot for multiple aircrafts. Co-pilots, not the pilot itself. Please try to understand. Okay. Then the technology can have the cost on its own. Okay. If you put more technology into the cockpit, then you have more technology that can fail. Okay. So now people also know what is this deep learning also. It is a powerful set of techniques for learning neural networks, learning in neural networks. It utilizes learning algorithms that derive that derive meaning out of data by using hierarchy of multiple layers that mimic the neural networks of our brain. And if you provide the system tons of information, it begins to understand it and respond in useful ways. That is what it is called. Okay, you have input, output, and so on. So the deep learning basics, you have input layer, multiple hidden layers, and the output layer. It consists of one input, one output, and multiple fully connected hidden layers in between. And each layer is represented as a series of neurons and progressively extracts higher and higher levels of features of input until the final layer essentially makes a decision about what the input shows. And then people came out with convolutional neural network. Okay. The convolutional neural network, the most popular kinds of deep learning models used to train large scale image recognition are known as convolutional neural networks. And it is very different from traditional backpropagation networks in four new conceptions: local receptive fields, shared weights, polling, and many different kinds of layers. So hope you understand this. These are building blocks of conventional neural networks. You have an input stage where the images are now, for example, segmented into subregions. Okay. Then you have a convolutional stage where you have shared weights. Okay. Then you have a non-linear stage, and then you have a polling stage. Please try to understand. In input stage, we have Z of ij, an image that is segmented into sub-regions like this. Each region you have a weight. Okay, for each region you have a weight. It is weight of KL. So you convolute each pixel by a particular weight. It is called convolutional stage. That becomes A of ij. For sigma K of L, WKL, Z of IK minus. So for each, you please see, for each window, okay, you are going to convolute it. Okay. Then next you have to non-linearly enhance it with a sigmoid function. Okay, this is through a function f of a of ij. A of ij is the input. That a of ij may be a plus, which is sigmoid of a. Then you have to pull it, in the sense you have to magnify it. Okay, you have to take the max, mean or subsample is used to expand it. Okay, this is called convolutional neural networks. A fully convolutional neural network will have multiple layers of these polling nonlinear stage, convolutional stage with one input and several feature maps. Okay. So now let us see what is an AI in space, how people are working on space. Artificial intelligence researchers believe that they have key to provide astronomers the foresight. Machine learning algorithms that can be more quickly identify and cluster the debris that comets they leave in their wake. So now by speeding up the analysis of meteor showers, the researchers hope to pinpoint. So before actually I go for AI in space, I will just show you one small video. Okay. Give me 1 minute, I will show you one video.
Hi, my name's Ken, and I am a security researcher, an ethical hacker, if you like, and we're the good guys. And our job is to go out there and break things to make them better. Now, I'm going to be talking today about the Internet of Things. And by that, I mean the smart tech in your home. So your smart thermostat, your smart door lock, maybe, or perhaps your smart vehicle. But unfortunately, security and the Internet of Things aren't often found in the same place. They're really vulnerable. And we see huge problems with people's personal data, their privacy being invaded, and maybe even their data being locked up and encrypted because IoT manufacturers don't spend enough time looking at security. Now, don't get me wrong, I think IoT, the Internet of Things, has huge benefits to us. I think we can be more beneficial with the use of our resources, with smart thermostats and smart control of our heating. I think medical advances using continuous monitoring with IoT, fantastic. And also assisted living for the elderly, brilliant. IoT can bring all those. But unfortunately, it's not safe until it's secure. Now, my job, what I get to do, I get to break smart things. I love my job because I get to take things apart and break them, make them better. And I don't always have to put them back together again either, which is great. A project we're doing right now, we're working on a Tesla Model S for our own interest. So we got a hold of a vehicle, very expensive vehicle, £70,000, and we took it apart. And we found lots of fun things, which I'll publish later on in the year. But then we put it back together, and my colleague said, it's all fine, Ken, you can drive it, it's good. Just watch out for the brakes. Like, oh, okay. Now, most of the time, organizations bring us stuff so we can break it, we can help them make it better. But sometimes we do work on our own back, so we buy our own technology and start taking it apart to see what we can find. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. I've got lots of examples of some really not quite so smart things. Now, this is the first one I'd like to introduce you. It's actually inside my kettle. Don't worry, we'll see if we can find it. This is a smart fingerprint padlock. Now, I think the idea of a smart padlock is great, because how often do you go around looking for your keys and you can't find them? Well, I lose my keys, I forget my keys, but I don't forget my fingers very often. I usually have those with me. And this is a cool idea. It's a tap lock. It's a fingerprint padlock. The idea, you put your finger on there and it unlocks. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Now, a YouTuber found an issue with this. They discovered that with enough force, you could actually unscrew the back of the lock and open it. So, ooh. And it turned out it was a manufacturing flaw in one lock. There was just one issue with one of them. But we were interested. We wanted to know, are there more problems? So we bought some. And I discovered that it doesn't just open from your finger. You can also use Bluetooth, so you can get hold of your smartphone. And one of my colleagues noticed that he could actually pick up and unlock the lock to order. And here's how he did it. He looked at the mobile app. He took it apart. He reverse engineered it to understand how it worked. And in there, he discovered it needed a key. It needed an electronic key to unlock this device. But the key to unlock it was the Bluetooth ID of the lock, the Bluetooth MAC address. It's the one thing that is sent out by this lock. It's a bit like leaving the keys to your lock next to it. It's unbelievable. We videoed it here. So with something as simple as a phone or a laptop, you could unlock any lock to order. There it goes, it unlocks. We've now got that attack so fast we can do it in less than 0.8 of a second. That's crazy, right? But then it got worse, because what chance I'm going to find one of these? And another cool researcher, a guy called Vangelis Stikas, looked at the cloud service that the mobile app talked to and realized that you could discover from that where all the locks were. He could pull your address. So now you had the perfect ticket to find out where the locks were and unlock them to order. That's crazy, really crazy. This is an interesting product. It was part funded through a TV show called Dragon's Den in Canada, a bit like the Shark Tank in the USA, but I think their backers might have some questions now. Now, the next place. Your home Wi-Fi, you have a Wi-Fi password, right? Now, if I can get hold of that password, if a hacker can get hold of that password, they can get on your Wi-Fi network, and they can start to listen and intercept and redirect the data. So the data you're sending to social networks, maybe the data you're sending to your bank. So how could IoT lead to problems like that? Well, I want to introduce the very first IoT device I ever looked at, and this is my Wi-Fi kettle. Has anyone got a Wi-Fi kettle? No? You need one. They're great. The idea is you put it in your kitchen. Right. You leave it in your kitchen, then you get your cell phone, you go to bed, and you wake up in the morning, you press the button on the app, and by the time you get to your kitchen, you've got a kettle full of boiling water. Wow! Saving you 30 seconds of your day? £100. Now, I looked at this with some of my colleagues and thought, I wonder, can that be secure? And I thought I'd show you how we went about hacking it. So the first thing we needed to do was connect to it. And we discovered you could connect to the kettle over Wi-Fi. But it's okay, it's got a password. Now, without the password, I can't go any further. I'm stuck. But I thought, I wonder what we can do. So we took the kettle apart. And in there, we found some chips. And that's the manual for the chips. I thought, I wonder, why don't we have a little look through the manual for the chips, the word password. And there we go. System password is 6 zeros. Surely hacking is more difficult than this, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow. Now I'm talking kettle. Excellent. But I still haven't achieved anything. I haven't done anything yet. So I then read further in the manual. We reverse engineered the mobile app, and we discovered a command that scared me. We discovered you could do this. I could recover your Wi-Fi password from your kettle. So now I'm on your home Wi-Fi network. I can listen to everything you're doing. I can redirect your passwords, your data, steal things, everything, just because you wanted to boil your kettle from your bed. But again, this wasn't the end of it. It still got worse. There's a feature of Wi-Fi a large number of really cool security researchers have put together a project called war driving, where they drive around listening for all the Wi-Fi networks out there, and then they map them. And as a result of that, you can go and query their databases and their searches for the addresses of certain Wi-Fi devices. So there are the kettles in the west of London. So I can now know where I have to go to hack someone's house and get their Wi-Fi key. Crazy. Now, in fairness, the manufacturer has now got their security in hand. They're doing a good job. And their latest product, the Kettle 3.0, is actually really secure. So they got there in the end. But it was such a shame that they had the security issues along the way. So if you want to boil water remotely, that's the way to do it. Cool. Now, another area I look at, an area that really bothers me, is that around smart toys. Every holiday season, we see more smart technology coming to market. And unfortunately, the security of those toys is often appalling. And this is my favorite IoT device. This is my friend Kayla. Hello, Kayla. She's awesome. She's an interactive speaking kids doll. She has a microphone and a speaker. She can speak to your smartphone over Bluetooth, so all the processing goes on over here. And she can listen to what your kids are saying. And she can respond to their questions. She's interactive. She's really cool. Now, how does she work? Well, Kayla is awesome. Microphone, speaker, Bluetooth. She is a hands-free headset. You can make telephone calls on the doll, if you wish. You get some very weird looks. And as I'm sure you know, it's illegal to drive with your phone to your ear. But not with a doll to your ear, so I understand. So, yeah, we'll come back to her. But what interested me first was that when I saw her in the store, there were some logos on the box that said, internet safe, child friendly. I thought, well, that's a big claim to make. That's a red rag to me, the ethical hacker. And it also suggested that if you swore at the doll, she would not reply to the child and tell them to go and speak to their parents. And I thought, I wonder, could I make this thing swear? Oh, no. Now, the bit that I found creepy was when you connect your smartphone to your vehicle, you have to put in a PIN, right? And that sets up a type of frequency hopping, which gives you security. However, when you connect your phone to the doll, there is no PIN, which means that anyone in Bluetooth range, so 30, 40, 50 meters, can connect to the child's doll. Microphone, speaker. Which means that someone outside on the street or in the next house can listen to the microphone and spy on your kids, or can talk to them as well. And I find that really, really creepy. Now, in terms of swearing, we had some fun. We looked to see how she swore. Don't worry, I'm not going to embarrass you. And we discovered a database in the mobile app of 1,536 really good swear words. So we deleted them. And now she swears like a docker. Fantastic. But that's just really creepy. We'll come back to Kayla in a bit. The next spot I want to go to is around home video. Now, this is a wireless home security camera. It's really cool. It's battery operated, and it has a really good battery life, and you can stick it in your house, or you can stick it in outside your home, and you can see your house and your security cameras remotely from your phone. And unfortunately, we found some security flaws with it. That when you access the cloud service that the mobile phone talks to and interacts with the cameras, unfortunately, you can switch it to someone else's cameras.
47 LPA, 54 LPA, 38 LPA, and 72 LPA. These are the packages.
Just by messing around with the camera IDs, and you can see someone else's footage. It's got a microphone too, so you can listen as well. Now, the good news about this one is it got fixed very quickly. The manufacturer was really responsive, and they fixed it really fast, which is great. But this product's been on the market for about 9 months. And it was only us coming along that resulted in the vulnerability being found. And I think that's really worrying. Now, that's a wireless camera. This one is slightly different. This is a wired security camera. It takes power, and it sends its feed, not over Wi-Fi, but over a cable. And it goes to a recorder called a digital video recorder. And these are many and many of these around the world, in offices, in homes. And a computer hacker found a vulnerability in the recorders. And he realized that he could connect to them all and make them all start attacking other websites. Nearly 300,000 IoT digital video recorders started attacking various social networks in October 2016. They took it offline. They took Twitter offline for 2 hours. I didn't know what to do. Crazy. So we have weapons from the IoT in our house. Now, maybe you've been unlucky. Maybe you've had data held to ransom. Maybe your photographs, your family photographs have been encrypted by bad guys and held to ransom. Now, we wanted to explore whether it was possible to hold IoT to ransom. And we started off by looking at a smart thermostat. This is a brand that's quite popular over in the US. And we started looking at its security to understand how it worked. And the first thing we did is we got the code out of the chips. It's called firmware. And we analyzed that to see if there are any security flaws in there. But along the way, we found some crazy stuff. One of the routines that deals with making an encrypted SSL connection, so HTTPS, the padlock, the developer called the routine this, the unhandled SSL bleep status. This is production product. It also has the facility for you to upload family photographs to act as a wallpaper, so you can have photos of your family and kids on the thermostat. And the process that deals with that was called son of a bitch mode. Wow. This is production product out there in people's homes. And that's how weird the code was. We found a bunch of security flaws. Unsurprisingly, this code was so oddly put together with so many weird references. And we discovered we could actually hold someone's thermostat, their heating and their air conditioning, to ransom. Now, that was a bit silly. So why would you encrypt someone's thermostat? Fine, but what if that was your vehicle? And your vehicle wouldn't start unless you paid a ransom. This is all very possible. And that's what really worries me about the state of IoT right now. It's really quite concerning. But then I realized the same attack could do something really nasty. The problem with IoT, it's not your IoT, it's everyone's IoT has all got the same problem. So every instance of that thermostat could be used by a hacker. What if they could trigger everyone's heating or air cooling at the same time? You can create spikes on the power grid. And it doesn't take very much to trip a power cut. So our desire to put smart technology in our houses has inadvertently exposed the stability of our nations. I think that's really worrying. There is some good news, not very much. There's been some good efforts to try and get vulnerable, poor, insecure IoT banned, and some work by the Norwegian Consumers Council and also the European Consumer Organization resulted in my friend Kayla being withdrawn from sale in numerous European countries. A German privacy lawyer successfully got Kayla banned in Germany for breaking a couple of laws, which is why I had to fly here via Zurich, not Munich. So she's been withdrawn from sale from numerous places. Unfortunately, progress by governments is slow. On the left, there was a really good bill put forward in the US Senate. It's still in committee stage. I haven't heard anything more about it in the past year. But it's a start. It's about trying to regulate certain standards for the US government buying smart technology. And I'm really sad to say that the EU was making great progress with this. But just last week, I believe, their new standards for IoT security have now been agreed to be voluntary for consumer IoT. And I think that's a real shame. And I think we can do better than that. What about you, though? What about us? What can we do? How can we improve things? Well, there are some things that we can all do. And the first thing I want you all to do is go and actually fix yourselves. You don't need to be a cool hacker to hack people. If your passwords are weak, easy to guess, or blank, or the default one, make them long and strong. Use a password manager. Make sure the pins on your mobile phones aren't 4 digits. Make sure they're 6 or 8. And then patches. Apply patches to your phones and your computers to make them stay secure. And the next thing, IoT, you can put it on a separate network at home. If you don't know how to do that, go and read up. If you don't want to do that, don't buy IoT. Just be safe. But I think also as consumers, we can make a difference too. If we don't buy product that we're not sure about the security of, we're going to force the hands of manufacturers to actually prove it's secure and make it safe for us. The problem is this. There are far too many IoT products out there. There aren't enough organizations and people like me out there doing research and exposing this poor practice, and There are very few IoT vendors that actually care about security. There are some good examples, but by and large, IoT security is really poor. And sadly, I think we have to face it, is there is a serious problem with security in IoT, to the point I think we almost need to be afraid of IoT. Thank you.
That was just a introductory talk on IoT security, how danger it is. So now again we will go back with AI and security, how it is more dangerous. So now people are now talking about AI in space. The artificial intelligence researchers believe that they have the key to provide astronomers more foresight and machine learning algorithms that can be more quickly identify and cluster the debris that the comets leave in their wake. And by speeding up analysis of meteor showers, the researchers hope to pinpoint the orbits of distant but potentially dangerous sun comets. Okay, so this project, the Frontier Development Laboratory in NASA, it is a meteorite hunting drone, is one of the 5 being explored as a part of AI pilot research program by NASA. And the researchers on the Comet project developed an image classifying algorithms to prove rapidly distinguished meteors from passing clouds, fireflies, airplanes, and then cluster these individual observations over a time. And the neural network which the group put together and tested over the course of 2 months agreed the human classifications of meteors about 95% of the time. So there is an Intel deep learning accelerator called Nirvana was used to improve the resolution of the maps on the moon. So the team needed to search the image data sets for cater-like features by shape, and to orbiting satellites, the cater may appear to be circular or ovoid. And a neural net was used to classify images, scatter or no crater, and the result agreed with human image classification about 98% of the time, and 5% accuracy of the previous images. The aim is to provide the recon so that the future lunar rovers won't fall. Okay. There is a swarm AI, which is a subset of distributed artificial intelligence that involves the control of multiple agents that interact between themselves and their surroundings. And an example is the formation of satellites that autonomously adjust the position and facing for applications include remote earth sensing, navigation, communication services, astronomical observations, and so on. And a constellation of satellites controlled autonomously by swarm intelligence could be treated as single resource with lower communication and control costs compared to an array of separate machines that lack autonomous capability. And such a swarm could also benefit cost reductions associated with the mass production of components that could reduce the launch of cost easily. So similarly, for example, please see why I am telling you space. Actually, the smart cities get benefited too much by the space applications. So, for example, object detection for satellite data applications like actual information on buildings, road segments, urban area boundaries is important for municipalities, government agencies, rescue teams, military, and other civil agencies. So, object detection task has been enabled by a number of integrated, ready to use pipelines using convolutional neural networks, and YOLO is also the state of the art real time object detection system. And you have a fast region based convolution network for object detection. Okay, like you have this object detection for satellite data applications, YOLO. It applies a single neural network to full image. Okay, and this network divides the image into regions and predicts bounding boxes and probabilities for each region. And these bounding boxes are weighted by predicted probabilities. And automated algorithms detect airplanes and high resolution satellite imagery. How AI will help splice transmitting data, analyzing large quantity. Until few days ago, it used to be managed with scheduling a software operated by humans, but there were so many constantly changing variables such as the orientation of spacecraft, space ground communication, bandwidth, the losing data. Sometimes forever happened all the time. Now AI has been doing the job since 2005, and the system created by ESA is able to determine which data packets can be lost in case of, and saving time by giving more autonomy depending upon the relative positions of the planets. It takes long amount of time to transmit one single message and wait for instructions to come back. Uh, Consequently, the space industry will tend to look more autonomy in the devices, which is where AI can be more a powerful tool. For instance, we often use AI to detect and learn from patterns, and in this case, techniques can be applied for analysis of sandstorms on Mars in order to predict their evolution. And saving time by giving more autonomy. So the NASA has already begun to work on that path. For instance, AI software called AGs uh, used in Mars rover can select targets on its own for its laser and telescopic camera. So particularly useful at the times when getting the science team in the loop is difficult or impossible. Okay. In the middle of long drive, perhaps um, the Mars will delay. Okay. Similarly, we have some automated detection of geological landforms on Mars using convolutional neural network. So, an has been made for solving the problem of automated landform detection using convolutional neural networks to identify volcanic rootless cones and transverse aeolian ridges in two types of Mars satellite by training the convolutional net to detect landforms of varying shape, showing that the VRCs and convolution would perform better than the optimized SVMs with HOGs, showing that the convolutional nets also have the ability to detect variety of other landforms such as stars. So here the system was capable of distinguishing between very different landforms such as VRCs, TRs, and the proposed architecture is fast enough to process high-res images as well as CTX images using GPU acceleration. And the results demonstrated that the same convolutional network architecture, sorry, is used. Okay. Now, what are the challenges in implementing AI in space? One of the biggest challenge in AI in space is the research on points out of autonomy of AI. Ono reveals in his blog that any autonomous algorithms on spacecraft is designed very conservatively since the spacecrafts are operated conservatively. So, despite the ability of AI, human operators prefer to fly the spacecraft manually. Okay. So now cybersecurity is an important tool in protecting and preventing unauthorized surveillance, and it refers to what is that? It is a set of activities and other measures, technical, non-technical, intended to protect computers, computer networks, related hardwares, devices, software, and other information they contain, and communicate, including software, data, as well as other elements of cyberspace from all the threats, including threats to the national security. And cybersecurity is a public health problem. So we need not go to cyber hygiene. So the trends leading to focus on cyber security is bring your own device, cloud computing, mobile apps and payments, third party suppliers, social media. These are all some of the trends that results increased focus on cyber security. Global cost of data breach is down by 10% over previous year, 3.62 million. And EU plans to introduce general data protection regulation to explain how companies should process, store, and secure personal data of citizens. And machine learning models can accurately predict and identify attacks, which could be a boon. However, these tools may be exploited by attackers. Patch and update systems strengthen the real-time defenses to produce impact. Cyber world current scenario. So before, so in a truly converged 2020, the following cyber related activities may be more apparent. Highly distributed denial of service attacks using cloud compute processing, physical attacks against data centers and internet exchanges, electronic attacks on critical infrastructure, including power supply, transport, and data services, advanced criminal intelligence gathering, including exploitation of big and intelligent data, interfering with and criminal misuse of unmanned vehicles, robotic devices, hacks against connected devices with direct physical impact, car-to-car communication, heads-up display, and wearable technologies. Malware will continue to evolve. Malware has been the most effective way for attackers to reach the targets globally. One trend that is appearing is the emergence of memory resident malware, and these ephemeral infections will not survive a reboot and be particularly difficult to forensically detect. And IoT complexity leads security issues and further DDoS attacks. And as internet reaches corporate enterprise networks, consumer homes, and local governments, these security risks increase because the combined target is larger. And again, mounting exploitation of internet of things. A modern day car has more than 500 sensors in it, 600 sensors in modern home, 6,000 sensors in a modern airplane, and all of these are generating information. So ultimately it is imperative that we validate and make sure that the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of the data in the systems are intact from cybersecurity perspective. And man in the middle attacks, a lot of these attacks take place on public Wi-Fi hotspots. Since most of these attacks are unsecured, it is easy picking ups for the cyber criminals. In addition to unsecured hotspots, hackers will also set up what is that a legitimate looking Wi-Fi networks in order to lure unsuspecting users to connect and give them full access to their device. IPv6 traffic will continue to double, and IPv6 had been deployed by most of the internet service providers, broadband internet providers, and mobile operators. People are now likely to have IPv6 running in the mobile devices in their pocket at their home. So cyber security issues need to be addressed in IPv6. And end-to-end encryption of data. Data encryption again has become heaven for security companies, as it ensures the sensitivity of data is protected. However, overcoming encryption challenges such as classification and management has become a little troublesome. So, however, with the coming changes in the security, the data encryption should become a common feature, not just the sensitive data, but instead now there is a problem of again 5G physical layer security. The combination of physical layer security with 5G enabling technologies such as MIMO, MM-wave solutions has been explored for the sake of meeting the strict security requirements imposed by emerging 5G communication system. And exploitation of Internet's inherently insecure infrastructure. All Internet users rely on ancient foundational protocols, and their ubiquity makes them nearly impossible to revamp or replace. For example, BGP could potentially disrupt, hijack, or disable much of the internet, and DDoS attack on October took down the DNS provider and the internet itself. Similarly, the next generation wireless protocols boost WGPA and 802.11b security. And the technology is known as fast packet keying, reduces the similarity of WEP keys used to encrypt successive packets and the flaw that is widely exploited to crack WEP encryption. Now, supporting both wired and wireless networks, 802.11 standard adopted July was extensible authentication protocol to control the authentication of users across the clients, access points, and authentic application services. And again, WPA3 Wi-Fi protocol aims to improve security for IoT devices and strengthen the password security with protections against brute force attacks. So these are all trends in network and security. You can just go through. Now there is a new kind of thing, like the antennas can now help breach 256 encryption standard. Now security researchers have devised a method of defeating AES 256-bit encryption in a little 5 minutes, and most importantly, you don't need an expensive supercomputer to do it. A technique leverages radio hardware to measure the frequency changes in the magnetic field generated during the encryption to record and decode the encryption from a distance. Then there is a space cyber security. Before this, I will just. The space systems need security in much same as the business systems do, because they also face several unique security challenges. There is a high means that the cost of security breach is also high. Radio links are required between the satellites and the ground, and these links therefore need to be protected against the unauthorized interception, corruption, and snooping. And some of the ground facilities are geographically isolated and are unmanned, so these would require a special security. And the distinction between the commercial and the military space is also becoming blurred, and security requirements therefore need to be revisited. So what are the target categories? The cyber crime is a generic term, refers to all criminal activities done using the medium of communication devices, computers, mobile phones, and tablets. The computer as a target, attacking the computers of others. Computer as a weapon, using the computer to commit traditional crime that we see in the physical world. The computer as an accessory, using computer as a fancy feeling cabinet to store illegal and stolen. So what are the most common forms? One is hacking, unauthorized attempts to bypass the security mechanism, data theft, virus swarms, malware, Trojan, identity theft, email snooping, botnets and zombies, scareware, phishing, denial of service attacks. Similarly, now people talk about satellite hacking. The hackers second Snyder demonstrate how to eavesdrop a satellite pager traffic using RAT 10 badges during the camp presentation. Iridium hacking. So similarly, frequency shifts as satellites go overhead and have historically made it difficult to capture iridium traffic. Okay, and you can just load the software on your PC and you can attach RAD 10 bad. You can start receiving the iridium pager messages. So what are the cyber attacks on satellites? GPS attacks like jamming, then creating a false GPS signal that overpowers the real GPS signal. So how jamming works? The problem is that the GPS uses the radio waves which are very weak, and the radio waves are among the easiest to jam, and the attacker uses the jamming device that directs an even stronger signal at the GPS receiver so that it overpowers the satellite signal. In jamming, the victim knows that he has been the victim of an attack because his GPS receiver does not work. And jammers are easily accessible online and can be used by criminals, terrorists. Then spoofing, you can deceive the GPS receiver into tracking counterfeit GPS signals. A jamming attack comes first, in which the signal is overwhelmed and the GPS receiver can no longer read the signal. It loses the lock on the satellite, and the key point is in jamming, the target knows that he has been the victim of an attack. Okay, in snooping, the target does not know that the signal in his GPS unit is receiving the fake one. So therefore, snooping is therefore a way to feed a false data into the system. So there are a lot of cyber attacks on satellites. Now you know even private companies are also launching satellites like JAM. Okay. Like there is one professor Dinesh Mandhar, University of Tokyo, has developed an anti-spoofing methodologies for next generation Japanese satellites and recommends it for discussions in international committees. So impact of cyber attacks, the GPS is pervasive in everyday's life. Okay. The perpetrator of the spoof attack can create a GPS signal that gives the incorrect time to the intended receiver. Because the critical infrastructure depends on accurate time, it would be possible to cause a part of the power grid to explode, interface with the functioning of banks and stock exchanges, disrupt civil aviation systems, law enforcement, and emergency service communications. So, bringing a satellite case study, like Ukraine attempts to take down the Russian satellite, it can be done by sending a signal from the ground. It causes the satellites to lower down the orbit. Like again, we can also use some fault-tolerant encryption space applications, where we are trying to save the satellite communications, and you can just go through this anyway. So given the state of the cybersecurity and the implementation of AI system into the mix can serve as a real turning point. So these systems can come up with number of substantial benefits that will help prepare cybersecurity professionals for taking on cyber attacks and safeguarding the enterprise. So how cybersecurity can leverage the AI? They depend on the intelligent automation to trigger the risk red flags that humans may not have the time and resources to search for. Okay. So before I conclude, I'll just show you one video. Give me 1 minute, I will just show you one video.
Al TEDx BGU.
This morning, I woke up and went to my morning run using my smartwatch. This smartwatch is really amazing. It collects a lot of information about me, about my speed of running, about the distance, even my heart rate. And immediately when I arrive home, I can see that all the information is already stored in the cloud. And even it can measure my stress level. Let's see. Now it's 90, I have another 10 to go, at least while standing. Next, when I finish to make a bathroom, I go to my work using my connected car. How come my car is already connected? I'm using Waze in my car. And this Waze is connected to the internet. In the future, every car is going to be connected to the internet and is going to be part of the IoT revolution. Today, the cars are connected because of the application that we are having inside our car. But in the future, cars are going to be fully connected and are going to be even autonomous. Then, when I reach to my office, usually I like to play with the latest gadget. You know, when you are doing a lot of research in the domain of IoT, you can play a lot with these IoT devices, and you are buying many IoT devices. One of them is the Google Glass. You see, even a glass started to become smart. And this smart Google Glass, what we can do with them, we can actually navigate the internet and see many things via a small display and a camera. And in the future, such glasses will even be able to tell us if somebody in front of us is lying or not. And then, when I'm coming home, I'm going immediately to my smart fridge to grab something from the fridge. This fridge is smarter. Why it's smarter? It includes a very, very nice display. Via this display, I can order groceries. And in addition, it has a very nice dashboard where my wife can put me all the tasks that I have to do during this day. Then, I have to play with my latest drone at home in the evening. This drone is really amazing. You can take a lot of photos with it. It's also connected to the internet via the mobile phone. In the future, drones are going to be completely autonomous and are going to bring us groceries to our house. In the late evening, I like to go to watch movies in my smart TV. This smart TV is also connected to the internet and allows me to access to many, many content providers and get a lot of interesting videos and content. In the future, these smart TVs will know automatically what we're supposed to watch, what really interests us. All these things that I described to you are actually part of the Internet of Things revolution. These are IoT that are interacting today with them. And in the future, we are going to do even more. So as you saw, many devices that we are using today are going to become connected to the internet and are going to provide us much better services. Why IoT is so important? Mainly because in the past, for example, we had a heart rate monitor. The heart rate monitor could collect information about our heart status and then to provide us a prognosis about what is the status of our heart. In the future, there's going to be an IoT heart rate monitor that is going to collect a lot of information about our heart, is going to send it to the cloud, and in the cloud, very strong servers are going to make the diagnosis and send it to us back. So the revolution is really, really profound. But let's talk about the privacy risks. You know, IoTs collect a huge amount of information about us, which is stored in the cloud. This information is going to be analyzed in order to provide us better services. But on the other hand, if somebody will manage to get this data, he will manage to violate our privacy. Let's go to one very, very sexy example. This is a smart vibrator that a company actually developed. And this smart vibrator is actually activated via the mobile phone. What actually happened is that this company collected a lot of information about the patterns of usage of their customers, and eventually their customers went to court and they had to pay $10,000 for every user because they potentially violated the privacy of their customers. But to understand really the problem, let's go back to my day of interacting with many, many types of IoTs. Let's see what may happen if somebody is going to get the data or somebody will manage to compromise my specific IoTs. What will happen to my particular privacy? First of all, let's start with this very interesting smartwatch. Try to imagine that I'm sitting in my living room in front of my smart TV, and suddenly the police knocks on my door. And they enter into my living room, and they tell me that they have a fine for me because I drove while I was intoxicated. So I have alcohol in my blood. How come the police knows that I have alcohol in my blood? Well, we did a research in Ben-Gurion University where we managed to collect information from the smartwatch and connect it to the level of alcohol in our blood. In other words, the information that this smartwatch collects can be translated into the amount of alcohol in our blood. But how come the police knows that I was driving when I was intoxicated? Please recall the connected car. My car is connected. So actually in the cloud provider of these connected cars, there is knowledge when I drove. So if you correlate the data from the smartwatch together with the data from the connected car platform, you know that I drove actually when I was intoxicated. This is just one example. Another example, if somebody will manage to compromise my smartwatch. I told you before, this smartwatch knows what is my level of stress at every point in time. Imagine yourself that I'm in the middle of a poker game. Somebody can derive immediately a conclusion whether I am bluffing or not. And these are just examples of what may happen if somebody will manage to compromise either my IoT device or the content of information that was delivered from my IoTs to the cloud. Next, let's go to my connected car. Every connected car is reporting its location to its cloud service provider. So if somebody will manage to hack into the cloud service provider, they will know the location of many, many cars in a specific country. Now, what is the value of this information? First of all, you can analyze this data and derive conclusion about where the person is living, where he's working, and if you are really a very sophisticated thief, you can even know to pinpoint every BMW exactly where he's standing at night in order to do a targeted theft. Not targeted attack, targeted theft against a particular owner of the car. Now let's go to these smart glasses. Smart glasses are connected to the internet. So literally an attacker can compromise a specific piece of Google Glass using a malware. In addition, there are many ways to compromise a personal computer inside the company. We managed to develop a very intelligent malware that literally managed to create a very smart blinking on the screen of a PC, and by that, modulating and sending the data to the smart glasses, and from the smart glasses to the internet. So actually, it is justifiable that many companies do not allow to bring smart glasses into the premises, because if the smart glasses is compromised, it can be used to leak a lot of information from the organization to the attacker. Next, let's look at this interesting smart fridge. Imagine yourself that you are sitting at your home, navigating your notebook, and suddenly you get an amazing advertisement for a diet program. If it will happen for me, probably it's a false positive. But think about a general person that receives such an advertisement. Why it may happen in the future? Our student discovered that a smart fridge is actually sending information to the cloud each time that we are opening the fridge. In other words, when you analyze the data in the cloud, you can use analytics to derive a conclusion that somebody is actually fat. Now, based on that, somebody will send me an advertisement. But what could be even worse, that somebody will not give me an insurance because they know my eating habits, just because I'm using this smart fridge. Let's go to a drone. I described to you me playing with the drone. But me playing with the drone, maybe it's not my problem. My problem is my neighbor that is playing with the drone. My neighbor can use a drone above its premises, and he may use it to invade my privacy. And I will not know that it's actually happening. We developed in Ben-Gurion University a very disruptive research in which what we did, and here you can see even my house, we use a stimuli on the window such that if somebody is photographing with a drone our window, we can intercept on the air the encrypted traffic from the drone to the operator of the drone. And since we see that there is a correlation between the physical stimulus on the window that we are creating and the amount of traffic, encrypted traffic, that we receive, we know for sure that actually somebody is photographing us and streaming this data encrypted to his own PC, which tell us that actually somebody is invading our privacy. What to do with it? It's another big story, how to stop the drone from flying. Let's look at our smart TV. You know, smart TV is connected to the internet. It's a part of the Internet of Things revolution. If somebody will be able to compromise my smart TV, he will able, first of all, to know what I'm watching currently in my TV. But many, many smart TVs also possess a microphone and a camera. And using that, an adversary will be able to compromise our bedroom. That's very, very risky as well. To conclude, in the future, we are going to interact with many, many IoT devices. These IoT devices are going to collect a lot of information about us. This information can be used to provide us better services. But on the other hand, if this information is going to be leaked to an adversary, he will be able to use it to learn many, many things about us and to compromise our privacy. And it's mandatory that whoever is managing these services will make sure that he is using the best security technologies to protect our privacy from any potential violation. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think we have already crossed the time and have a meeting. So I think if you have any other questions, yeah, I am sharing the link of the video.
Now session is open for questions and queries. If you have any, you can put by raising your hand in the chat box.
Okay, then thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Srinivas KG. Sir, you have very well covered IoT security challenges and security threats in IoT. The privacy concern was well addressed, and the emerging technologies in IoT security and fostering a secure IoT ecosystem. I think they all have enjoyed the session like anything. So if you still have any queries, sir is there to answer. If you don't, then sir, uh, it's so kind of you to spare your valuable time for this FTP sessions. We are extremely thankful for your valuable time and very innovative sessions on IoT, and I think the audience have enjoyed these sessions like anything.